Cavel West was chosen as a target because of what Cavel West was, which was a slaughterhouse that was killing up to 500 horses a week. It was a horrible, evil place. The plan was we had to destroy the infrastructure, and that's what we did.
Where did you serve time?
I served time in Phoenix, Arizona at the medium federal, they call them FCIs, Federal Correction Institution, so it was a medium level.
What was your sentence?
My sentence was 51 months. I mean, I think whenever I'm doing any actions, whether it's any animal liberation actions, it's to me, even though you may be saving a particular animal, there's always a bigger picture involved with the whole thing. I always feel like that if you're a person that is going to have the heart to go out and defend an individual animal, how can you not have the heart to see the whole picture of what's really going on in this world when we're in the 6th mass extinction right now. We've got ecosystems collapsing everywhere, species dying out, and animal liberation is tied to that directly. I could say that there's probably some people that may be just animal-centric, but I've never been that way. We did a recon on University of Oregon for months, for 6 months. I'd been in the labs myself, in and out. We had access and we knew everything about that place. They were doing research on pregnant cats, opening them up, taking the babies out, blinding them, either sewing their eyes shut, one eye, both eyes. They were doing these same tests for years and years, which really meant nothing except that the university was getting $500,000 each year from National Institutes of Health and other grants. So it was a big money-making thing. It was despite the fact of what you think about or feel about vivisection or animals in research, this research there was nothing behind it at all. And we got in at night and we did it in about 3 or 4 hours. We did the whole thing. We released almost 300 animals. Cats, mice, rabbits, and monkeys. And we couldn't get the monkeys out because we had no homes for the monkeys, which was really sad. We wanted to get them out. I also had no experience in handling monkeys too. They were rhesus monkeys from what I recall, but I did bring in a bunch of bananas for them. You know, at least I could do something for them. And I went in, and the only thing I did around the monkeys was that I personally destroyed the stereotactic device. I actually bought the little sledgehammer especially for that because I'd seen that device forever and I kept eyeballing it. I was like, I'm going to destroy that device because it is a very horrible device. That was my first action. I'd never done one like that before, and it was a rush. I mean, it was to be able to take an animal out of a cage and give it a home was just a really good feeling. There were always actions happening after the Oregon action. It continued on from everything from small actions to larger liberations. It just, you know, that was my life. That was everything I strived for. I had a part-time job, did my work to make my money to pay my rent, and everything else was about animal liberation. The thing that was interesting was a lot of the people that I was hanging around with were very smart people who were very educated. And I listened and learned from them, and I started understanding what was really going on and understanding more about ecosystems and how important things were and this and that. And as I started to understand that, I started putting it all together like a puzzle. I was able to complete the puzzle, and I saw this very dark world that to me was very disturbing, and I sorry. I think that you know, yeah, excuse me. There's a despair that we all hold in us. I can't do this.
Take a break.
No, I'm good. Keep going. I'm good. Um, I think for me, for myself, I can say that somewhere I tend to channel the suffering and the pain and the destruction in me. It's it's a pretty intense experience to always have that in you. It's something that I always say that in a lot of ways I prefer to be aware and be in touch with my despair than to be unaware and not in touch with what's going on. And I don't want to live in bliss. I want to live in reality. And a lot of times the reality that's going on is it's very disturbing and scary. And so the only way I could channel that is to do something about it. It was hard for me to discuss anything, even with the closest person in the world to me, my wife, Tammy, because I had such a habit of never discussing this stuff ever. It was just, I just didn't talk. No one knew about people closest to me. No one knew. Maybe people suspected things about me, but I didn't talk to anyone about it. No one knew anything. So I didn't share with my wife anything about my illegal past. So when things started falling apart, I still did not admit that I was involved in anything until the FBI came and arrested me, and then it was clear, obviously. I was here at home, actually. My wife was in Seattle visiting her daughter, and it was a blizzard outside at the time because it was in January. And I went to plow the road, but before I plowed it, I decided I was going to go up and get lunch up at the local restaurant in town. And I went up there, and the FBI were at the end of my road, and they followed me. I saw 2 cars parked there. I didn't really think much of it. And I just drove to the restaurant, and when I walked in to make my order, I walked inside, a guy approached me and flashed his badge, and right then I knew that was it. And he goes, "Do you want to step outside?" And I go, "Okay." I knew. I was prepared for it. I knew it was happening. I was pretty much prepared that it was going to happen someday. There was a part of me that was hoping it wouldn't. So there was a part of me that was in denial about the whole thing, but you know, the realistic side of it all, I knew in reality that, you know, they were going to come and get me. I just didn't know when. I was in solitary confinement for a week because while they're getting through your paperwork or whatever, or make sure you're not bringing drugs in for whatever reason, I was in for a week in the hole, which was not fun because it's the hole. But after I got out of there, I was transferred to a unit, and usually because prison is so it's so race-based there, the races are always separated. The first thing when I walk in, all these white guys, they come up to you and they give you your shower shoes and they give you soap, and everyone supplies you up with what you need until you are able to get your own property or get to the store and get your own stuff. So usually that's how it is. You get set up and you get celled up, and you just sort of try and figure out how to go around things and get around the place. And but then when I finally got home and was back here, it was definitely, at first it was definitely a shock, just almost not only emotionally but visually, because of being in prison and the sterile atmosphere and all the concrete and everything was hard, and you know, it was just, there was no carpeting anywhere, none of this stuff, you know, plastic chairs, and then coming back to my home with, you know, comfortable chairs and beautiful view, and you know, it was definitely a change, you know, but it didn't take long where prison just started going away, just started flying away from me. I just kept going forward, you know. There were times in my life that I felt like I needed to take some time off for myself, to actually be selfish for once in my life, not as selfless as I had been. And I did that, but it didn't take long before I realized I had to get back into being an activist, because it was, you know, there was this, I just felt like I had to just keep doing things. And that's part of being an activist, is like not stopping. On this planet itself, without humans, the animals and the environment would thrive. The populations would get healthy, things would really change. But without animals, humans would die. We can't live without the animals out there. So in a lot of ways, animal rights is a human issue. You are helping humans by defending animals. Now, a lot of people don't see that because they don't understand that connection. But there is a deeper connection because of the intricate connection that life has that keeps life in that, some people call it the circle of life. What keeps biodiversity alive is every single creature, every single plant, everything on this planet has a place. So by protecting those things, you're protecting humans.